Hey guys, welcome back to your welcome. Per usual, I'm so excited to be here. I hope everyone has had a great week so far. Today, I wanted to talk about authenticity because I feel like in this world, we see a lot of copycats. We see a lot of people trying to be other people. And I have even felt that who I am as I am now is not enough, and have in the past tried to be who I'm not, tried to be who I thought I should be based on what I was seeing, based on what other people's experiences were, and that's just not the case. So in this episode, I want to talk about how to show up authentically and to break out of that comfort zone or that feeling of uncomfortability of claiming who you are. Because I can't be the only one that when I first started posting on like my podcast and my YouTube and on TikTok and even Instagram, that I got the ick by myself, like ew, and just really judging myself on my looks, judging myself on what I was saying, judging myself on my verbiage, like just comparing myself to other people and thinking that this isn't good enough. Like, let me delete this, let me not do this, like, let me not say that, like, let me tailor myself according to what I think is good, according to what I think society wants, when in general, society is just going off of trends. I mean, look at this little boo-boo thing. Like, everything cycles, every trend cycles, and even I feel like as women, it's even harder because there are so many beauty trends. Like, how can we keep up? We went through the whole BBL phase, the fake body phase, which no shade to anybody that has any surgeries. I think that you doing that is something, if that makes you feel good, then please do that. I too have considered a breast job in the past, like a boob job, and even like getting my nose done in the past because I have insecurities around that. And it's okay to have insecurities and to want to fix those things if you're able to do that. But I think in order to really heal what we have going inside, beyond doing cosmetic surgeries that make us feel better on the outside, we have to feel good enough in the inside, because no matter what, if you don't feel good in the inside, then whatever you do on the outside, you're still gonna feel like it's not good enough. And that's how we see people with like filler blindness and makeup blindness and butt blindness, and it's just like it gets out of control and spirals out of control when you haven't healed that inner child that said I'm not good enough. And so I think that is truly the first thing that we need to do as women, especially. And you know, this podcast is focused on women, it's not really focused on men. Men are I welcome you to listen, especially the gays. I love the gays. However, as women, it's hard, like society makes it hard for us because we just feel like we're never enough in every area of life. That's in career, at home, in relationships, with our children, our pets, whatever it is. Society always makes us feel like we're not good enough. And that's something that as an individual and as women in general that we need to work on, because we truly are good enough. And who's to say, honestly, I'm not taking any advice from a man about what I should be doing, how I should be doing it. And in general, honestly, like I take advice from men now with a grain of salt, because we're two different people, women and men. We think differently. Our bodies work differently. I mean, we have hormones that change every single day. I think I've mentioned this before. Men don't go through the same things that we do as women. And so I think as women, it's important to uplift each other, to judge each other less and focus more on believing that we all have a place in this world and who we are is good enough. And to be honest, all of the people that you may look at and say they have the perfect life, they have the perfect looks, still go through their own insecurities. No one is perfect. No one in this world can claim that they are the absolute perfect specimen. That's just not a realistic thing. And that's something that I really had to work through as well, is knowing that I'm allowed to thrive just as I am. I'm allowed to be who I am and still make a difference. I'm allowed to be who I am, and who I am is enough. I don't need to change myself to fit in, quote unquote. I just need to break through the uncomfortability that I feel when I show up as my authentic self. So I think the first step is to get clear on who you are. A lot of what you can see or what you can figure out of who you are is who you are when you're by yourself. When I'm by myself, I'm goofy, I'm playful, I am just sometimes different than who I am when I present myself to the world. The first thing is getting clear on who you are and being okay with who you are, because that is when you can really look at your insecurities in the face and say, I don't care, because I know that I'm worthy enough. I know that I'm good enough just as I am. So for me, I like to write down the things that I love about myself. And then I also like to write down the things that I don't like so much about myself. Like, what are the things that I wish I could change? And a lot of that I realized were mostly physical things. Some of them were habits, or not habits, but characteristics of myself, because I felt like if I wanted a certain type of partner, I needed to be a certain way. Like, I needed to lessen the goofiness. I needed to lessen my intellect and be more of what I think a man wants. When in general, like, how can you keep up with that? How can you keep up with a facade that you can't hold, because at some point you're going to break and want to be yourself? And I would rather be myself and allow the men, the clients, the people who are meant for me to come into my life, and for the other people to break away, than to put on a facade that I know that I won't be able to maintain, and one day will get overwhelmed and crash out, because this isn't who I am. And I know that's easier said than done, but when you remind yourself that if I were to show up as I am and this person would leave, then that person was never meant to be in my life in the first place. If this person isn't okay with who I am as I am, and they want to change me so much, then we aren't meant to be in each other's lives anyway. And I remember I had this conversation with my mom even about this guy. I think I mentioned it on the last podcast, about the guy that he was really nice, but there were so many things about him that I wanted to change. And I just had this realization, like, he deserves to be with somebody who doesn't want to change him. He deserves to be with someone who accepts him just as he is, as I deserve to be with someone who accepts me as I am. I'm not going to go after a man I'm not going after any man at all, but I'm not going to like even entertain men who love women that have BBLs, because that's not what my body looks like. And if they expect for me to do that to make them happy, I'm not going to. I'm not going to go after a man who wants to change my physical appearance. What if I decide to change? That is on me. And as humans, and we're with people that are growing, we naturally are going to want to grow in whatever way that looks like. But it's not going to be based off of someone making you do that, or someone encouraging you to do that based on their type or what they want from you. It should be a choice that you make for yourself. And so when I made that list of what I love about myself and looked at my insecurities, I decided to focus on those insecurities, and not in a way of like continuing to bash myself and tell myself negative thoughts, but in a way that's like accepting those things about me. So for example, I would look at women who have long torsos and hourglass shaped bodies or pear shaped bodies, and so desire that. Like, I wish that I had bigger boobs, or I wish that I had a bigger butt, or just a smaller waist, when in reality, the shape of my body is I have a wider, shorter torso, and I have really long legs, really long arms, and that's okay. Like I still am working through, if I'm honest, insecurities around like my nose and like other parts of my body, of my face, which someone might be looking at this and saying, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And also having that realization of like, there is someone out there who is looking at you and thinks that you are the cream of the crop, that you are the best of the best. And so if you know that there's people out there who have that feeling about you, that you can feel okay and comfortable with feeling that way about yourself, and knowing that who you are just as you are is enough. So part of what I've had to do is stop following women who didn't have my body shape or weren't presenting themselves authentically. And once you start to show up more authentic, you can kind of see through it more and see through the facade, especially on Instagram. TikTok, I love TikTok because it's more authentic and it's more like more just like for the people in general. Whereas on Instagram, it's like everyone is just posting their good moments. They're just posting the good things that happen, or they're using Facetune to, which I am not exempt from. Like I have used Facetune. I mean, in general, the camera just like, they always say like the camera does not, it makes you look uglier than the mirror than the mirror in general. So little tweaks here and there, it's fine. But if you're going on Facetune and you've seen that, you've seen where like a person does no longer look like a person, you're like, okay, this person is literally 45 years old, but they Facetune themselves so much that they look like they're in high school. That's a problem. And I feel like the more we use Facetune to adjust ourselves, the more that we find things to hate about ourselves, the more we are blind to our own looks. And so even me showing up on this podcast on YouTube with no makeup on as I am is a big step for me, and showing myself that I deserve to present myself the way that I want. Like I'm not presenting myself in a, like I'm showing up in the best way that I knew how today, but I'm not neglecting myself at the same time. And I think there's a difference between showing up authentically and neglecting yourself. I still want to go out into the world and present myself as someone who loves themselves. And that doesn't mean that I have to put on a boatload of makeup to do so. But when I present myself clean, like I love myself, and you know the difference. I'm sorry, I just can't be the girl, and this is no shade to women who go out in rollers and bonnets and pajamas, but I like to show up in the world as if I'm going to meet someone who's gonna matter. And again, that doesn't mean that I have to put on makeup, because I love myself as I am, but that does mean that I continue to show up as if I were going to meet someone that's really important, or someone that's gonna change my life, or even me just showing up as like my best self and my most clean self, that I am allowed to be me, and that I am allowed to thrive and to exist in this world just as I am. Now, if you feel your best and your most clean in bonnet and rollers and pajamas, then by all means, because confidence is confidence. And I think confidence is a huge part of being authentic. And confidence doesn't come from, I saw this quote today, like confidence doesn't come from, I had to pull up a quote because I was like, okay, what does it say? And this is from Adriana Bori. I'm probably butchering her name so bad, but confidence isn't what gets you started. It's what you build by showing up anyway. And I think when you show up anyway, despite, you build that confidence. And a big part of what has helped me to show up more authentically and to build that confidence and showing up is exposure therapy. And that's something that I thought I was just doing recently, but I think I just like took it up a notch recently. But I realized I've been doing that for a few years now, on and off. And I think since I started this podcast, I dedicated myself to showing up authentically and to getting less and less icked out by myself. I think that we think that we need to be, like I said, we need to be perfect and we have to have everything figured out, and that's just not the truth either. The truth is you continue to build confidence and you continue to figure it out along the way. But you have to show up in order to even get to the point of being at that level of authenticity that you really want to be, that level of love of yourself, I would say, that you really want to be. Because it's just like anybody who starts a new sport or starts a new hobby and like a new habit. At first, it's difficult, it's challenging. You don't exactly know how to, like let's say you're learning how to play tennis. I used to play tennis in high school. At the beginning, you don't know how to play tennis. You're just hitting balls over the net, like hitting balls over the fence, not making any real moves. But once you continue to practice the game and you learn more and you figure out like, okay, like this is where I need to be on the court, like this is my opponent. Like once you're able to have a better system and you create patterns and you create a habit of it, you are able to get better at the sport. And that's just like with anything. The more you expose yourself to it, the more it will feel normal and the more confidence you will gain. And I know for me, like I'm not a big like exposer of my body in general, but over the weekend, I posted a picture of myself in a bikini on my story and it gave me the ick. I'm just like, oh, people are gonna be looking at me. People are going to be judging me. People are going to be thinking like, oh, like her body is not like amazing. But I had to remind myself that I deserve to exist just as I am. And I feel like the more authentic you show up, even it encourages other people to be authentic. And when you can say, so what? Like, so what? You would be surprised at the amount of people who back down just based off of that. I remember one time, I think I was on a date or I think I was at a club or something. I can't remember. But I remember I just did not feel like shaving my legs that day. I was like, okay, they're a little prickly. It's okay. No one's going to be touching me. So why does this guy like rub his arm on my like lower leg and it's like, oh, like your legs are prickly? And I think he was trying to say that as an insult. And I literally looked at him and said, okay, and? He was so dumbstruck and he was just like, oh, well, I don't think it's a problem. Of course it's not. Like, why are you even A, touching me, B, and then gonna make a comment like that? Of course, when you tell someone and so what, like it literally stops them dead in their tracks. So remember that people who are judging you are either triggered by you, they're a hater, they're jealous, or they're just trying to get a rise out of you because they feel like they can. And no matter what, none of that has anything to do with you. And the more you realize like what anybody else is carrying has nothing to do with me, you care less about what anyone has to say. And y'all, like I said, when I posted that picture of me on Sunday, it was so hard for me to not delete it because I was just like, oh my God, like I really just like put a bikini picture up, like, and that's just not a normal thing that I do. But because I was feeling insecurities around my body, and I always have felt insecurities around my body when it comes to like wearing bikinis, I was like, this is important for me. This is a lesson for me. And if I'm going to continue to build my community around authenticity, I have to be an example. And I can't say like, oh, do this and then not do it myself. And even when I gave myself the ick by posting that, I would remind myself that like I look great. Like I have worked out so hard. I have lost so much weight since my last relationship. I have been doing so much better with my eating. I have just been doing the work. And so the work is showing and I'm allowed to be okay with that. And it's great to also, like I said, unfollow the people who make you feel bad about yourself, but also with following people who make you feel good about yourself and who are showing up authentically. I think two people I can name off the bat who have similar body types, body shapes as mine, who I admire are Pilates Body by Raven and Paige DeSorbo from Summer House. They both have shorter torsos, wider frames. And so when I see them posting stuff and they don't care and they're being their authentic selves, it is an example to me, and it is a reminder to me that I'm allowed to do the same. So compliment yourself in the mirror if you need to every single day. I like to compliment myself also in the shower. I like to remind myself that I'm a bad bitch when I'm in the shower, and just like how much impact I make on this world and just how bomb I am. And when I look in the mirror and I see like, oh, I don't really like that about myself. Oh, I don't really like that about myself. I reshape it real fast and say, actually, I love that I have this. I love that I have this. It makes me feel so unique. Like my nose is ancestral, okay? My mom had this nose. And so if I were to get rid of this nose, I would be changing like the way that even like my family sees me. And that is not to say that like I'm doing stuff for my family's approval, but I also love to hear when my mom or when my grandpa used to tell me, or like when my aunt tells me like, you look so much like my mom. And it brings a lot of warmth to my heart because she's not here anymore, like on this 3D plane. Like her soul is around here somewhere, but she's not here. And so it's just like, wow, like I loved her so much. Like I should be proud to have this nose. But obviously you're again allowed to do any cosmetic procedures that you want. But on top of that, just holding yourself accountable for the changes that you want to make that aren't even cosmetic procedures. So if you look at your body and you say, okay, 2 years ago, I told myself that I wanted to lose 15 pounds. So why haven't I done it? You can only blame yourself for you not being able to present yourself as the way that you want to. And I even had to have that accountability with myself. Like 2 years ago, I didn't feel good in any clothes that I wore. I didn't even feel good wearing a tank top. I didn't feel good wearing anything but baggier things. And even like a couple of months ago, I think I shared this on the podcast too. Like I ate a whole can of biscuits a few weeks ago, and I felt so bloated for 2 weeks. And I was just like, why do I feel like this? And I don't feel good in any of my clothes and having temper tantrums. And then I had to hold myself accountable. Like, well, you're the reason for that. You're the reason why you don't feel comfortable. And I have to remind myself that like, I feel my best when I work out. I feel my best in my clothes. I feel my best just in general when I work out, and hold myself accountable for working out. And so it's just a reminder to me, if I want to feel good in that outfit, if I want to feel good in this skirt or this maxi dress, then it's going to be important for me to be diligent about my workout routine and my eating routine, and to just do better. Also reminding yourself that God made you for a reason, that you are allowed to exist as you are, that you have a purpose, and it isn't to be like everybody else. And out of all the people in this world, you have something that other people don't have. You are unique, and so you have a lot to offer just as you are. Last story, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. But I remember even when I was heavier set, I just did not feel like, I just felt so insecure about like my weight. And I still chose, like, I'm like, you know what, I'm still going to hold my head high and show up. So there was this one specific time that my friends wanted to go to brunch, and I was just like, okay, struggling to put on clothes and just like, what am I gonna wear? Like, and so anyway, I put together an outfit, and this particular brunch was at Colony Square in Atlanta. And to get from like the parking garage door to like the actual like restaurant was like a straight walk, but it was like a little bit of a further, like, you know, like a runway. It looked like a runway, honestly. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna strut down this pathway to get there, and I'm gonna hold my head high and feel confident in who I am. And I remember as I was walking, even though inside I was like screaming like ick, this woman as I'm walking is like, oh my gosh, I love your outfit, you better, like you look so great. And it gave me the boost that I needed. And I don't think she realized what an impact she made on me, obviously years later, that she said that to me, because she didn't know internally I was struggling with my weight or just my appearance in general, but it made such a difference in how I continue to show up, and affirmed to me that when I move confidently through this world, no matter how insecure I feel about certain parts of me, that the world is gonna meet me, the universe is gonna meet me halfway. And I truly think that things get better the more authentic you show up in this world. The more authentic you allow yourself to be, the more that God, the universe, can meet you halfway and bring you the people that are meant to be in your life, the relationship that's supposed to be in your life, the opportunities that are supposed to be in your life, because you're no longer playing as somebody else. You're no longer cosplaying as whoever you think that you should be, and you're allowing yourself to be who you are. And that is all I have for today's episode. I hope that this was helpful. I just also wanted to give a special shout out because I love the community that I'm building, but also I don't take for granted the listeners that I have. I don't take for granted any time that I have a new view or a new download or a new listener, because it just blows my mind that my podcast has reached areas that I never knew it could reach. Like, I was looking at just the amount of people who have like new followers and new listeners that I've had, and I mean, they're from all over the place. Like, they're from the UK, Australia, Africa, Malaysia, Canada, like Denmark, places that I could never imagine having like an audience from. And so I just want to India as well. Like, I just want to make a special shout out to the people who have listened to me from the beginning, the people who are finding me and listening to me. Like, it just really makes me feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing in this world. And I just know that I was put on this earth to help people, and especially women, become their best selves. So with that being said, I want to say thank you. And if you are listening to this, I would love a like, I cannot talk, a subscribe, a comment, anything. My email is in my in the information as well. If you have a story or you would like to share your small business, I would love to share that on my platform. And I just hope that you guys have a beautiful, safe, staying out of this heat, authentic weekend. And I will talk to you guys next time.